Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Over Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder-Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Patita Pavana, save the fallen souls, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnu Van Brahmahamsa Parivajakacharan Asta Tarijadashi Shimad. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami Maharaj, Over Ki Jai. Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Charja Srila Hare Das Thakur Ki Jai. Brahmsa Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samavekta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivisheshu Shunyabari Paschachidesha Tarine. So tonight we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, text number 40. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Neha Vikramanashtosti Pratyavayo Navidyate. Svapamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatho vayat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness are acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in the material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. A Jamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. Shvakka sadarvam sharanam bhujam Hare Rajanda bhakvo tatpatettato yadi yattaka vabhadram buddhamushakim kavarta apto bhajatang swadharmataha. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness, and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material duties perfectly? Or, as the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Material activities and their results end with the body. But work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishwakanvitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Satarane. So it's common sense. If by material activities there is no permanent benefit, only temporary benefit, and if by Krishna conscious activities there's permanent benefit, even if you only achieve 1% of the goal in this lifetime, there's still a permanent benefit. So it's common sense. Why should I put my energy into some area or some type of activity which will not actually give me permanent results? Even if you achieve some big position in this material world, you're famous, you're rich, you're powerful, how long will it last? Here today, gone tomorrow, you see. No matter what position you may achieve here, it'll all be taken at the time of death. And you start all over again from scratch in your next lifetime to build yourself up to whatever you want to be again. But in Krishna consciousness, you never have to go back to square one to begin your activities again. You can always continue whatever progress you made in this lifetime, you just can pick up from that point. I mean, this is just common sense. If you can engage in something where you never lose the result of that activity, that is the intelligent thing to do with your life. That is the intelligent thing. Even if you are materially a failure, and you can be even slightly successful in Krishna consciousness, that's better. So then if we have this realization that I should take up this pathway, I shouldn't remain in the darkness of ignorance, then how do we begin the pathway? How do we take it up then? That's the question. Well, it actually begins with your tongue. It is stated by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, Adau Jiva, begins with the tongue. The tongue has a twofold purpose. The tongue vibrates and the tongue tastes. Two different activities of the tongue. So if you will engage your tongue in tasting the prasad, the foodstuff offered to Lord Krishna, and you will engage your tongue in also vibrating the holy name of Krishna, you see. By these two activities, vibrating the tongue with the holy names of the Lord, the qualities of the Lord, the teachings of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, and tasting the foodstuffs which have been offered to the Lord with love and devotion, prasadam. By these activities, as confirmed by Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, Atakshi Krishna namadi nabhavedgrayam indriyai sevan muke hijivado svayam evaspadat yadaha. With your blunt, materially contaminated senses, it's not possible to realize God. You can't, it's not possible. God is beyond this material energy. This material energy is covering our ability to actually see the Lord and experience directly the Lord's association. It's just like being in prison. You can't experience being a free citizen when you're in the prison. So right now we're within the prison of the three modes of material nature. We cannot experience being a free citizen in our present imprisoned state of consciousness. But by purifying your senses, by engaging them in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha, Krishna, by tasting prasadam and by vibrating the holy name of the Lord, the result is the bars melt away. The prison just melts away. And you find yourself a free citizen in the kingdom of God even while you're in this very world. You will not be in this world. As the Bible says, in the world but not of the world. You'll actually experience the Lord directly when you purify your senses. So hey, even if I can't make it in this lifetime, isn't it worth it to at least start the process now? Even if I cannot become a completely liberated soul in this lifetime, at least I should start the process, you see. At least I should start the process. But actually, if you take proper guidance from a bona fide spiritual master, from the bona fide scriptures, from the bona fide devotees of the Lord, if you take guidance and sincerely try to carry out that guidance, you'll get the result. In this one lifetime, you can see Krishna face to face, eye to eye. So one should be enthusiastic. Hey, this is pretty good. I think I'll give it a shot. Become Krishna conscious. And the beauty of it is, even a little bit of Krishna consciousness, as stated in this verse, you see, even a little advancement on this pathway can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And what is that fear? Being dragged down into the animal kingdom in our next birth as a result of my sinful activities. Would you like to be an animal in your next life? Actually, one can become an animal. Most people in this world are becoming animals in the next life because we're living in an animalistic society where everybody's living like animals. They will become animals in the next birth, you see. But if you sincerely take up this pathway, even if you don't perfect it, sincerely take up this pathway, you're guaranteed to at least have a human body in your next life so you can continue on this pathway. So who is the fool who would not take it up? You'd have to be an idiot not to begin this pathway. Complete idiot, an ignoramus, a dumbhead, to not at least give this, take this a little bit in your life. It's not difficult. Come to the temple, take some prasadam, sit and hear some lectures, Join the kirtan. Get a little bit of spiritual advancement at least, you see. That little bit of progress will carry you a long, long way, and the result will never go away. Even if you're here for a few more lifetimes, even if you're here for 1,000,000 more lifetimes in the material world, whatever engagement you have in Krishna consciousness here in this movement, this Hare Krishna movement, is your eternal asset. You see, you are putting assets into your spiritual bank account, which will never be taken away, not even in millions of lifetimes. You will not lose. Every time you come to this temple, every time you take prasadam, every time you say Hare Bol or Hare Krishna, every time you bow down and take darshan of the deities, every time you hear a lecture, every time you give a contribution, every little thing you do is adding up. And finally it adds up enough that you got your price for your ticket, you see. You do enough bhakti, okay, now you got your ticket back to Godhead, you see. You qualify. So come here, build up your spiritual assets, more and more. Hear about Krishna, chant the names of Krishna, bow down to Krishna, you see. Build up your spiritual assets. In this way, you're going to reap a tremendous, amazingly sublime reward which exceeds anything that anybody in this material world achieves. Even the super famous songwriters, the actors, politicians, these people are nothing compared to someone who has awakened his Krishna consciousness, you see. The most successful person in this world is that person who has awakened his Krishna consciousness. So please take this process very seriously. Chant the holy names, take prasadam, and be happy. That is our request. So we have some questions now. Anybody has further questions? There's some paper that's been passed around. And we have there's some pens also passed around, so take advantage of an opportunity. Is this a cult? Hare Krishna. Well, the word cult has various meanings. In the current pejorative definition, which means a place where they impose, they hypnotize you and put you under some spell and exploit you. No. This material world is a cult. You're being exploited by the whole material world. They have brainwashed you into thinking that you're your body. And the material world is a cult. So we are deprogrammers here. We are freeing you from the cult of this material world. You've been programmed to think that you're something that you're actually not. So we are deprogrammers. We're freeing you from the cult of this material existence. Srila Prabhupada initiated about 5,000 disciples. How many of them are still in ISKCON? I don't know the latest count. It is a small percentage. Why did 95% of them leave ISKCON? What went wrong? They went wrong. ISKCON didn't go wrong, they went wrong.
But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, out of many thousands, one will take and those.
My wife's making a very good point. Krishna says in the Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashchin jatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashchin mang viditattvataha. Out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and out of 1,000 who achieve perfection, hardly even one knows me in truth. So actually we have a pretty good batting average.
And Prabhupada also personally said, don't be amazed or don't be surprised who leaves, but be surprised who stays.
That's right. Leaving is not a surprising thing, because the material energy is very strong. But those who stay, that's the surprise. But that 300 are actually going strong. That's a miracle. 300 people are going strong. I don't know the exact number, but let's say there's 300 Prabhupada disciples who are going strong, and they're preaching, they're absorbed. It's a wonderful thing. 300 people can make a big impact on this planet. Look what Christ did with 12 disciples who remained. Actually 11, one left, Judas left, you see. But 11 stuck, you see. So just imagine, he had 11, and what they did with 11, now what we can do with 300, you see. So actually, that's not a bad thing. Which is more difficult, becoming a devotee or staying a devotee? Well, actually becoming a devotee means you stay a devotee. You can't become a devotee without staying a devotee. If you don't stay a devotee, you didn't actually become a devotee. You're superficially a devotee. But anyone who actually becomes a devotee will automatically stay as a devotee. He will never leave. Can you give any advice to a person having difficulty to follow the Four Regular Principles? Take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Take shelter of compassionate devotees. And reveal your problems to them and ask for their help. Can you please throw some light on donating organs and donating blood? Should it be only devotees or even to karmis? What are the pros and cons of doing this? If you donate organs and blood to someone who's going to use it for sinful activities, then you have some karmic connection with that sinful. You facilitated that sinful activities. But if you donate to someone who's using it in Krishna's service, then you get great pious assets for doing that. What does Vedanta say about marriage, especially after a divorce? There's no such thing as divorce in the Vedas. It doesn't exist. It's a modern invention. So there's no such thing as marriage after divorce, because there is no divorce in the Vedic culture. How can I increase bhakti? How can I decrease attachment from material things? How should I react if someone hurts us? The way to increase bhakti is to desire to develop, to advance every day in Krishna consciousness just a little bit. At least a little bit. Here's the real answer. Every day strive for pure devotional service. Krishna, please bless me with pure devotional service. We have a prayer for that. Do you know that prayer? For pure devotional service? Anyone know that prayer? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That means you're begging for pure devotional service. So every day intensely beg Krishna for pure devotional service. And if you do that, your bhakti will increase. And your attachment from material things will naturally decrease as you become more and more attached to Krishna. And if someone hurts you, you should think, actually, they're not the cause of the hurt. They're simply the delivery person for my own past karma. They're the DHL man. They're the karmic DHL agent. It's my own hurting someone else in the past is now bounced back on me. They're not at fault. I'm at fault. Can you please enlighten us that how we can transfer lust into love for Krishna? You just have to reverse engineer it, that's all, because lust is nothing but pure love of God contaminated by contact with the material mode of passion. That's all it is. So instead of you have to give up your association with the mode of passion, and you have to associate with the mode of goodness and the mode of pure goodness, devotional service, Krishna consciousness. And by that associating with Krishna in the form of His name, His devotees, His pastimes, that lust will be naturally reverse engineered back to its original position of pure love of God. How can I improve the service attitude towards the devotees? Always try to please them. How do I understand this? An upcoming very serious devotee has left his body, leaving behind young wife and children. The wife is against Krishna consciousness. What is the message that the Lord is trying to give? Well, it sounds like Krishna, well, we can't say for sure what Krishna had in mind, but it could be that Krishna was saving him from a hellish marriage. I don't want you to suffer in that marriage anymore. I'm going to take you back to my abode right now to relieve you from having to go through all that stress with a spouse who's not Krishna conscious. Is emotional maturity important for spiritual progress? Oh yeah. One should be very sober, not immature. One should try to be very mature emotionally, not to be carried away by every little thing that happens. Will the devotee remember on the transcendental world that who he was in the last birth before leaving Krishna's abode? Yes, Prabhupada said that. Just as our Narada Muni remembered his previous life before he became a devotee, you will also remember, Prabhupada said that. How should we handle when the material things get worse? You should become very grateful. Krishna, thank you. I was thinking I could enjoy this material world, but now you're mercifully reminding me I can't enjoy it. Thank you, Krishna, for being so kind to me. That's how you should handle it. If you take that mood, nothing will ever bother you. You see? But if you're too fussy, well, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? You see what I'm saying? You'll be in anxiety. You will be in anxiety. But if you take it as the mercy of Krishna, no anxiety will ever penetrate your heart ever again. What will life be like in the spiritual world? Wow! Do we remember our past lives? I already answered that one. Can we help our relatives to come back to the Godhead once we're in the spiritual world? Why don't you try to help them now? Now you have a chance. Now when you go into the spiritual world, you'll be able to see all of your relatives that you've had in all your millions of births. And we've been here for so long. Do you know, when you get back to the spiritual world and you look at your relatives, you know who you will see? You'll see that every single jiva soul is my relative. So you have to understand the relativity of the word relative. But it's a fact that about 20 generations will automatically be delivered of your latest relatives. They will be delivered when you go back to Godhead. Automatically. You won't have to even worry about it. It'll happen. I've read that seven generals, generations before and after our lifetime will go back to Godhead. Yeah, there are benedictions like that. No, men and women both. It's not just the men in your family. Men and women will all be delivered. 7 generations?
7 generations before, 7 generations after. But do they go automatically doing all sinful activities?
Huh?
Do they go back doing all the sinful activities?
Well, the thing is, they will. How it will happen, we can't say, but it will happen. It may not happen immediately. How exactly it happens, I don't know, but it will happen. I always feel safe when I associate with devotees, but mind creates problem when I'm not in devotee association. Well, you have to then always remain in devotee association. If not externally, within your mind, you have to always remember the devotees and appreciate the devotees, and then you'll always have their association within your heart. Do atoms and bacteria have souls? Yes. If so, aren't we getting bad karma when we step on bacteria? Yes. Unless you're a devotee, and then you're allowed to step on bacteria because you can't avoid it. But otherwise, you get karma for everything you do if you're not Krishna conscious. Even inhaling, you just did mass murder. You killed so many microbial germs every time you inhale. You're a mass murderer. By your inhaling, you're a mass murderer. But if you're a devotee, just like an ambulance driver can run a red light and not get a ticket, a devotee doesn't get the karmic reactions for the things you can avoid doing, like stepping on bacteria. But otherwise, you remain very tightly caught up in karma chakra, unless you take the Krishna consciousness. How can I even say I'm doing a bit of spiritual advancement, as I consider my chanting offensive and service offensive while both devotees while with devotees I unintentionally do offense. Well, I can see that actually you have a nice mood of humility, and you consider your chanting to be offensive, your service. This is a very nice, humble mood. This means actually you're becoming free from offenses, because you're feeling, yes, I'm very offensive. That, you see, there's 4 different stages of perfection, or we can say competence. The first stage is unconscious incompetence, and then it's hopeless. You don't realize what a rascal you are. You go on with your nonsense. The next stage is conscious incompetence. And this is when you realize, actually, I'm offensive. You see your faults. That's a very good stage, because from there, then you can go to conscious competence. By being aware of your faults, aware of your offenses, you can gradually rectify them. And that way, so it's and then of course, in the liberated stage, you're unconsciously competent, automatically competent. It happens after you cross over the anartha nivritti stage. If someone works in the army and has to fight and kill on the battlefield, can he practice Krishna consciousness? Sure. How they follow non-violence? You don't have to be non-violent to be a devotee. Arjuna was not non-violent. If your duty is to kill, you can do that. If you have to do that. Arjuna did it. Why you can't do it if that's your duty? We have some devotees who were in the military, and they I don't know if they killed anyone. They may have done that, but they don't get any karma for doing that, because they accepted that was their line of work. And there was one platoon leader who was Krishna conscious, and he was preaching to his men. He cultivated many people in Krishna consciousness on the battlefield. How can a disciple remember every moment that he or she spent with his Guru Maharaj? Well, MP3 recorders are very helpful. You can, if you meet with your Guru Maharaj, record it. You have a meeting, bring your smartphone and turn on that MP3 recorder and record that meeting and keep it in your archives. Because that can help you to remember, because our memories are pretty bad in the age of Kali. Take advantage of modern day technology, and if you have a meeting or if you go to his lectures, record them. What is the significance of massaging the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, and what should be the bhava feeling in my heart while I am engaged in this service? Well, it's special mercy to be able to touch the lotus feet of the spiritual master. It's a very special mercy. One should feel gratitude. How should one take care of one's spiritual master's family members? With great love and devotion. Could you please describe Krishna's mercy quality? His mercy is unlimited. Sometimes it is read in books that everyone is Krishna's devotees. Yes, that's a fact. Everyone is directly or indirectly a devotee of Krishna. Some realize it and some don't, that everyone's Krishna's devotees. You said there is no divorce, but what if I am the husband or wife were abusive to the other one? In other words, domestic violence. Actually, well, you need to talk to some devotees and see what you can do about it. Prabhupada does say that a woman doesn't have to serve a husband who is a demon. So it's not required that one has to remain in an abusive situation. There is that concession by Prabhupada, even though it's not part of the Vedic culture, because the age of Kali is very degraded now. One does not have to remain in an abusive relationship with a non-devotee, is suffering the whole life. Not required to do that. One has to do what is favorable to one's Krishna consciousness. This is wonderful and nice. Well, okay. If only Krishna consciousness and work in self-realization is important, why do some devotees only see you materialistically and make you feel bad and not joy. Oh no, this is your defective vision. A devotee will see you spiritually, and he'll do everything he can to help you feel good. If you're seeing a devotee in that way, your vision is wrong. Whatever my plans or even small tasks I have that I discuss with anybody and never reach, they are never successful. I'm not superstitious, but this happens every time. Can you please give me a Krishna conscious view on this matter? If you're failing again and again, this is your bad karma. You're getting reactions from your previous sinful activities. But that will not remain forever. If you chant Hare Krishna, that bad karma will gradually go away. You'll turn from being a failure into a greatly successful person. Chant Hare Krishna and keep endeavoring to serve Krishna nicely, and you'll see how it gradually turns around. I would love to chant all my 16 rounds early in the morning, but I'm not able to do it. That's because you don't get up early enough. I am so lazy despite my efforts like going to bed early. So I'm lazy to wake up early in the morning. How to do this? Well, you can take advantage of these smartphones. You can set, put it to 4 a.m., 4:01. Give yourself about 10 alarms, 4 a.m., 4:01, 4:02, 4:03. It just keeps going off. You turn it on, it comes on again, until finally, you finally say, well, all right, I surrender. You can even get a loud alarm clock and put it on the other side of the room. So you have to get out of bed and go to the other side of the room. Get just a regular old-fashioned alarm clock, put it on the other side of the room. You get a clock radio and put it on a super high volume. And you have to go across the room to turn it off.
Why do you do that? Why do you disturb the other family members? Well,
what if others are disturbed? You can get what's called, there's an alarm clock, I forget what it's called. I used to have one. It vibrates. It's a silent, you put it on your pillow and it goes zzz, it just shakes you. It's just this big vibration. Somebody may be sleeping in the same room where they won't hear it, but it'll vibrate you. You can get one of those. Shake Awake, it's called. You go and you can Google Shake Awake and order one if you want. I'm not getting a commission. But I am getting a commission from Krishna, because the more I guide you how to become successful in Krishna consciousness, and you actually take advantage of my advice, and you actually advance, Krishna gives me a commission for that. It's a spiritual commission. And that's why it's very nice to be a preacher, because you get the benefit of all the advancement that the people you preach to make. You get advantage of their advancement.
Multi-marketing.
Multi-level marketing, yeah. And if I preach to you and make you a devotee, and you preach to somebody else and make them a devotee, you preach to somebody else and makes a devotee, I get the benefit of all those devotees. So it's a reflection of multi-level marketing, preaching Krishna consciousness. I want to ask that according to Indian mythology, or we can say according to Om, that Om is the best name of God. So if we remember this mood every day, is it not the best? Or Hare Rama mantra is the best way to remember the God. Okay? Yes, the Om mantra is there throughout the Vedic literatures. Krishna says, I am Om in the Bhagavad Gita. So what is the difference between chanting Om and chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama? What's the difference? Om is an impersonal form of addressing, Oh my Lord. So it's Om. You're calling out to the Lord, but you're not calling the name of the Lord. It's like saying, Hey you, to the Lord. If I said to you, hey you might respond, but if I say, my dear Shama Sundar Das, or whatever your name is, oh, you see, the personal name, that makes a stronger connection. So Om is very nice, and I chant Om every day, just Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We chant Om every day. It's part of our daily routine. Every time we chant Om 3 times a day at least for our Bhagavatam class in the morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's a very wonderful transcendental vibration. However, it is an impersonal address. It doesn't have the same potency as calling the name of Lord Krishna and Rama. So, it's also confirmed in the Kali Santarana Upanishad that of all the mantras, including Om, that are mentioned in the Vedic literature, there is no mantra more powerful, more effective, more potent, more poignant for awakening one to spiritual perfection in this age of Kali than this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore we chant Hare Krishna. We love Om, but we love Hare Krishna even more.
Lord Shiva says about it, chanting Hare Krishna.
Lord Shiva says,
Rama, that 3 times.
You tell us what he said. What does he say?
3 times. If you chant 3 times Rama,
yes. 3 Rams, saying Ram 3 times is like saying Krishna 1 time.
Yeah. No, 1
and
time
saying 1,000 Vishnus also stated that saying a Vishnu 1,000 times is, we're saying Ram equals that. So if you chant Krishna, you get the benefit of 3,000 names of Vishnu. So just consider how much power there is in the Hare Krishna mantra. For every Krishna, and there's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There's 4 Krishnas in the Maha Mantra. That's 12,000 names of Vishnu right there, right? And then there's Ram 4 times. And that's 4,000, so that's 16,000 names of Vishnu. Potency, every time you chant the Hare Krishna mantra. That blows an Om right out of the water in terms of power and potency in this age. 16,000 names of Vishnu every time you chant the Maha Mantra. So we chant the Maha Mantra on our daily vows to chant the Maha Mantra 1,728 times. So do a little math in your calculator, your smartphone. 1,728 times 16,000. And it's 27,648,000 names of God, power of chanting your rounds every day. 27 million. So take this chanting Hare Krishna very seriously. The 27 million names of God power from chanting your rounds every day. That is powerful stuff. How can I convince my family to join Krishna consciousness? Well, the first thing, who is your family? Your family is all living entities. In other words, I'm not trying to be cute here. I'm making a philosophical point. That as long as you think your family is just your blood relatives, that's your own lack of Krishna consciousness. That will impair your ability to make your blood family members Krishna conscious. I mean, if you're still attached to this limited conception of family, you have lost at least half of your potency to make your family Krishna conscious. You understand my point?
It is like they remain on the bodily concept.
Yeah, it's a bodily consciousness. So as long as you have a mundane conception of your family related to your body, Bhagavatam says you are a cow, you're like a cow or an ass. You see. So as long as you have that vision of your family, you don't have the potency to make them Krishna conscious. You need to have a vision of who your family actually is, all the living entities. And you have to dedicate yourself on the order of Lord Chaitanya, the order of Srila Prabhupada, for making all living entities throughout the whole universe Krishna conscious. When you have that vision, you see, then you'll be very powerful to make your blood relatives Krishna conscious. What is the right time to get married after joining Krishna consciousness? The best time to get married after joining is never. That's the ideal. Don't ever get married. Now, I'm talking to the men now. For ladies, as soon as possible. According to Vedic culture, ladies, as soon as possible. Because women are exploited by men in this world, you see. So every woman needs a good bodyguard to protect her from the unscrupulous men. So it's recommended women should get married as soon as possible, and men should never get married. So how does that work? Prabhupada said, yes, I've asked the women to get married, I've asked the men to stay single. This is the dilemma. But Krishna works it all out because he loves everyone. And, Krishna works it all out. The first thing is take a spiritual, the real understanding is this. That's the basic philosophical understanding. I'm talking now in terms of practical, I gave you the ideal, now I give you the practical. The practical thing is first you should get initiated. Because unless you're actually protected by taking shelter of a spiritual master, when you get married you may get carried away by lust and possessiveness and all the things that householders fall prey to. So the first thing is you should take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and get initiated. This is what Prabhupada did. He would first initiate them before he would marry them. You want to be married, first initiation. In fact, even to be initiation one day and marriage the next. The first thing is you should be initiated. And then now you've understood what your actual position is. Now under the protection of serving your spiritual master's order, now you can enter Grihastha ashram. So the right time is after you're initiated, in terms of practical sense. If you want to be married, it's after initiation is the right time, not before. How to avoid discrimination from Siksha Guru. And don't get motivated by their behavior towards one. My Siksha Guru turns me off. That's what they're saying. Well, then how is that Siksha Guru? Guru means one who inspires you and enlivens you in Krishna consciousness. Siksha Guru is not some post. This person has a little note, Siksha Guru on his nameplate or something. No, Siksha Guru is that person who actually inspires you to come to Krishna consciousness. So this is not Siksha Guru. For you, anyway. Siksha Guru is that person who actually inspires you and enlivens you in Krishna consciousness. This person is not your Siksha Guru. It's not a title, it's a relationship. When a person inspires you to become surrendered to Krishna, that's Siksha Guru. You see. I heard when it rains, every raindrop it contains another soul falling from the spiritual world or the material world. Is this true? Yeah. It's described in Prabhupada books. They come down in the rain from the heavenly planets after they've exhausted their pious activities and they're no longer qualified to live in the heavenly planets. They come down in the rain. Then they go into the soil, they go into the grains. Someone eats those grains, and then they're transferred to the semina. And from there they enter the womb of a woman. Or it could be an animal birth too, a female, an animal or a human being, depending on their karma. Is it the same pain at the time of death for a devotee and for a materialistic person? Yeah. The pain's the same, but the experience is different. Prabhupada compares it to the mouth of a cat. There's two ways you can experience the mouth of a cat. One is, as a kitten, my mommy's given me a nice ride. Do you see the mother cat picking up the baby kittens by the mouth, the skin on the back of the neck, and carrying them for a little ride? They're enjoying it. I'm going for a ride, you see. A joy ride. So for a kitten, the mouth of the cat means joyride. But what about the rat? What does the mouth of the cat mean for the rat? It means, I'm finished. You see, it's meow and yeah. Completely different thing. Completely different. So the mouth of the cat is the same, but the experience is completely different. Can you please explain Lord Kapila's teachings in Srimad Bhagavatam on devotional service in different modes of nature? How do we identify if we are doing our services in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? If you're doing your service in an angry mood, I don't want to do this mood. You're doing service in the mode of ignorance. If you're doing it, well, I want to do this so everybody recognize how great I am. That's in the mode of passion. If you're doing it to try to advance in Krishna consciousness, to try to please the Vaishnavas and the spiritual master in Krishna, then it's the mode of goodness.
There is an example of 3 people laying the bricks. Example of 3 people laying the bricks.
Yes, here's a nice example, a mundane example, but it's a very good mundane example. The activity is the same, but the consciousness is different. In other words, 3 people can be doing exactly the same thing. One is miserable, one is tolerating, and the other is completely blissed out from the same activity. Is an example that 3 men were laying bricks. And one man was like, the other was, okay, so-so. The other was, wow. And this person was amazed. Look at these 3 people laying bricks. Why do they have different attitudes? They're doing the same exact activity. So he asked them, the first one, what are you doing? I'm laying bricks. He asked the second one, what are you doing? I'm building a wall. He asked the third one, what are you doing? I'm building a temple. You see the difference? It's a matter of your vision. The same activity, what is your vision? You see? I remember my godbrother, Mangalananda Prabhu, was an expert musician. And he wrote one song about his old days and when we were traveling with Vishnu Jan Swami on the bus. And I was also a part of that. It was called the Road Show. We had a really amazing experience. He said, I was helped. In his song, he described what he was doing on that bus. He said, I was a part-time cook, but I was helping with a prophecy. Lord Chaitanya giving out the ecstasy. In other words, it wasn't just, I remember he was a great cook. I remember he made donuts one time. He made really fantastic donuts. But he wasn't just saying, I'm just a cook. Actually, he was the band leader. He was an expert band leader. He didn't say that in the song. But you could tell by the song was so well written, you knew he was a good musician. He didn't say anything about being the band leader. He said he was a band leader and a part-time cook. But his vision was, I was helping with a prophecy. Lord Chaitanya, it's prophesied that this movement will inundate the entire world, you see. So he was helping to make that prophecy come true. So if you have that vision of what you're doing here in this temple, I'm here to make a prophecy come true that the whole world will become Krishna conscious. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping to fulfill a prophecy. It like puts you into a whole exalted state of consciousness, not some mundane thing. Yeah, I'm vacuuming the rug, you know. I'm helping to fulfill a prophecy that the whole world will become inundated with love of God, you see. So it makes a big difference how you see what you're doing and how you understand what you're doing. How to make sure that we don't fall in our Krishna consciousness life and not get entangled in material life again. Beg Krishna, Krishna, please, please don't ever let me leave this Krishna consciousness movement. Please, Krishna, protect me. You know what Prabhupada told us in Boston? He said, I'm praying, I'm always praying to Krishna, I will not fall down. If Prabhupada is praying that he won't fall down, what should we be praying? Think about it. Can you please instruct me how to become dasa dasa nidasa? Yes, you have to become initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and fully surrender to him, taking his orders as your life and soul. That's how you fully realize dasa dasa nidasa, servant of the servant of the servant. I also felt to advance and cultivate Krishna consciousness and please his devotees, one should have the following qualities: purity of body, purity of mind, purity in speech, and serving devotees without any partiality. Then one can become dasa dasa nidasa. Can you please advise me how to cultivate these qualities? They will, if you simply fully surrender at the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master, taking his orders, your life and soul, all these qualities will automatically manifest in your heart. That's what Prabhupada did. The spiritual master ordered, you must spread this Krishna consciousness movement to the English-speaking world. He focused on that one thing. That was the whole foundation of his life. As per the Vedic varnashrama, the wife should always serve the husband. In this age, both husband and wife cooking or working. Is it an offense to take help from a husband in the day-to-day activities? Actually, according to the Vedic system, you shouldn't send your wife to work. That's the Vedic system. I know I was a brahmachari for 14 years. I was a college dropout. So when I got married, they told me, well, Sankarshan Das, now you have to live on the outside and get a job. Okay. So I got some technical training and I didn't get paid much, but it was a very meager, very, very meager income. I have a little efficiency apartment, a little inexpensive Toyota, tiny little car. And I didn't send my wife out to work. To me, she's a goddess. And I couldn't think of sending her out to work under some materialistic men. I couldn't conceive of such, I couldn't tolerate such an idea. So actually, that's the Vedic system. Now, I know many of our ladies are working, and we're not telling you have to stop them. But it's not the ideal situation, especially when you're raising kids. It's crazy. You put them in army daycare. It doesn't make sense. At least when the child is growing up, the mother should be at home. There's a whole other topic, but if the husband and wife are both working, then it's not. Sometimes the wife complains, "I work a job, my husband works a job. I come home and he wants me to do all the housework because I'm a wife." That's completely bogus. If your wife is working and you're working, you have to share the household duties 50-50. You can't say, "Okay, I'm the man of the house and you're the woman, so you know your duty now." And they go watch television or something, make you no. You shouldn't send your wife to work to begin with. But if you have to, because of the economy or whatever reason, then you better split the household duties 50-50. Otherwise, you're a rascal. I am getting bullied. Oh, if I'm getting bullied, or the people around me are not devotees, what should I do? You got to show your tough side. That's described by Prabhupada. There was one snake, a cobra, and cobras are very dangerous snakes. In fact, recently, one cobra just killed some security guard at a hotel. Suffocated him, They wrap around you and they suffocate you. The security guard was trying to get the cobra away from there was a resort hotel somewhere, and he ended up getting killed by the cobra. So anyway, this cobra, he became a devotee, a disciple of Narad Muni. And previously the villagers were all completely scared of him. They were frightened to death of this cobra. But now he's become a devotee, and everyone knows now he's not going to hurt us anymore. So the little children are throwing rocks at him to torture him, and for fun. So he asked Nirmuni what to do. Now they become a devotee. They're throwing rocks at me. What should I do? He said, show your hoods, but don't bite. So if you're being a gentle devotee, people are taking advantage of you and they want to put you down and abuse you. You got to show your toughness to them. You see, you keep your gentle heart, but you got to show your toughness to them. It's a fact. If a devotee leaves his body, what should be done with the devotee's chanting beads and bags? Especially when the other family members are not devotees. That's an interesting question. How is it that you have access? I mean, it's he's in a house and you don't live with him, you're not a relative, and how do you have anything to do with it? I mean, it's his house, his wife is not a devotee, his family members are not devotees. How do you have even any access to even consider what to do with his beads? It's in their house, and how do you have any access to even consider what to do with the beads? That's my question. It depends on the situation. There's so many variables. There's no set answer for such questions. I have seen some devotees believing in stones and astrology. Krishna is supreme. Why should a devotee have to worry about anything? That's true. Devotee doesn't have to worry about anything. You see, if he just fully depends on Krishna, he has no worries. He doesn't need astrology. He doesn't need some magic stones. Krishna is all you need. Huh?
I also feel that that could be the arrangement by Krishna.
The stones?
Stones or whatever to get them a medical assistance. It's arranged by Krishna. It's every action happens according to...
What does stones have to do with medical assistance?
Some ways for health reason, some ways for some other reason.
Oh, medical stones.
Yeah, those like a special...
Different medical, there's some naturopathic cures involve stones or even twigs I've seen. Yeah, if that works, you can do that. When it comes to medicine, do what works, that's all. Any kind of medicine, if it works, whether it's Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, allopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, naturopathic medicine, if you're sick and something will actually cure you, then go for it. There's no hard and fast rule. Do whatever you need to get well. Could you please give detailed descriptions of why chanting is important? At the present moment, we are completely enchanted by the material energy. If you will chant Hare Krishna, you become enchanted by Krishna, who is more attractive and more enchanting than the material energy. So in order to transfer your attachment from Maya to Krishna, you have to chant as much as possible. The point is simple. Chanting is enchanting. So keep chanting as much as you possibly can. It's do or die. It's sink or swim. I am a student and new to Australia. I'm feeling hard to balance my studies, job, and bhakti. Can you please put some light on how I should balance my life? Krishna is first, that's all. If you put Krishna first, get up in the morning and do your rounds first. Get up and chant 16 rounds, your first business, and then do whatever you need to do for your studies and your job. But put Krishna always first, and then you'll have the proper balance by doing that. If you don't put Krishna first, no matter what you do, you will not be balanced. You have to put Krishna first.
Otherwise everything is zeros.
That's right. It's all zero. Could you please explain that even after not being an Indian, how did you manage to How so much trust in Bhagavad Gita and Krishna? I think not being an Indian helped me. Because I wasn't filled up with all the rubbish of the, this God, that God. I came as a clean slate to Prabhupada, you see. We were trained in simply in monotheism, that's all. We didn't had any conception of many gods. And it's just a matter of finding out who God was, that's all. It was very simple. We never knew who God was. We knew there was God, we didn't know His name. But when Prabhupada, we learned His name, it was very simple.
But why do we feel difference? Because God is for everybody, same. Krishna is for He's a Jagannath. So why we...
Jagannath means the Lord of the whole universe, not Hindu-nath, you see. He's not Hindu-nath, He's Jagannath. He's the God of everyone. Krishna says, you do your karma and I will decide to give you the fruits. What does it mean? The fruits of our work belong to Krishna. And Krishna will give us whatever our quota is, whatever is necessary for our spiritual and material needs will be provided by Krishna automatically as our loving Father. But everything, we give everything to everything belongs to Krishna. And He gives us whatever we need. You mentioned the Maha Mantra, there's 27 millions of God's names. Then why were you chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram? Why don't we just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare? Or you could say, why don't we just chant Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna? One could ask that question too. Because we are following the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures. We're not concocting our own process with our fertile imaginations. We are following the injunctions of the scriptures, and we're following in the footsteps of Krishna Himself, who came to teach us how to achieve spiritual perfection quickly and easily. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just when you said, unless you are a devotee, you will get karmic reaction for even breathing your life. So how can one person become a devotee of Krishna, taking initiation in bona fide spiritual master in parampara and following his instructions as his life and soul? Or does he need to be a first-class pure devotee to avoid these karmic reactions? No. If you sincerely take up this pathway, even though you're not perfect yet, actually you are perfect in an immature stage. It's just like a mango. When you buy the mango, even it's unripened, you have the mango. Someone who begins this process, he's already a liberated soul. Anyone who sincerely takes this process up, from the very day of initiation, they're a liberated soul. But it's just in an immature stage, that's all. What happens at the time of death? How the soul passes from the material world to the spiritual world. Prabhupada said, you go to sleep and you wake up with Krishna. Wow. Just imagine. Just like a hard day's work, serving Prabhupada's mission, whole day's work serving Prabhupada's mission. Finally, now I'm going to take rest, have a good rest after working hard all day for Prabhupada's mission. Just imagine, I worked a whole life for Prabhupada's mission, and now I'm going to take a good rest, called death. It's not like a fearful thing, it's, now I can get a good rest. My body's worn out, it's old, it's worn out. Let me just take a good rest now. Death is like going to sleep. For a devotee, it's not a fearful thing at all, it's just going to sleep and waking up with Krishna, you see. I remember one godbrother, he was dying of cancer or some kind of terminal disease, and in Vrindavan, and he was feeling sorry for us. He was getting out of this place and going back to Krishna Loka, and here we are, we were stuck here in this nasty place. He was feeling sorry for us, actually. That we weren't dying. He felt like, I'm the lucky one, and these other devotees, I feel sorry for them, they're not dying right now. I'm the lucky one who's dying now. What should a pregnant woman do to make sure her future child will be Krishna conscious? You better be Krishna conscious, Mataji. You better be very Krishna conscious. You should strictly follow the principles. You should fully surrender to Guru and Krishna. You should be absorbed hearing. There should be transcendental sound vibration going on, if possible, 24 hours a day, at least when you're the whole time you're awake. There should be if you can sleep with some kirtan going on, a kirtan tape, do it. We used to do that in Atlanta Temple. We didn't have. Those are the old days. We didn't have high tech in those days, but they somehow rigged it up that they had Prabhupada chanting all night. It was constantly going on. And it was really something really mystical. Prabhupada all night long. You could hear Prabhupada chanting all night long. So the more you can expose your child to transcendental sound vibration, the better. At least when you're awake, you can chant your rounds, you can play some kirtan tapes. When your husband comes home from work, you have a nice and fired up kirtan, in the morning and evening. Let that kid be saturated with the holy names as much as possible for the whole 9 months. And when he comes out, believe me, he's going to be in bliss. If he's heard the holy name the whole time he was in the womb.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, read Bhagavatam, Gita, all these things. Okay. Could you please explain the origin of the universe, in which the Lord looks at the material nature and impregnates it elaborately? You can read this in the Bhagavatam. It's very simple. It's not a difficult thing. Krishna can manifest infinite universes from any one of his limbs. Described, you see. Ananda Chinmaya Sadudvada Vigrahasya. No, not that verse. It's Andanyasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pasyanti Panti Kalayanti Charam Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadudvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Rajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, and substantiality. Each and every one of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in itself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. So they're just coming out of Krishna's body, these universes. They're coming out of his body without any effort at all. It's not that Krishna's, I got to create the universes today. Too bad I have to take some time out from playing the flute to create the universes. No. They just come right out of his body. The universes come right out of his body. He has an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of expansion named Mahavishnu, who lies down in a corner of the causal ocean. And from his breathing, he's in a sleep called Yoga Nidra. And every time he exhales, millions and billions of universes come out from his pores of his body and from his mouth also. And in each and every universe, that Mahavishnu or Karunadakashai Vishnu further expands himself as Garbhodakashai Vishnu, and who from his perspiration fills up that universe halfway with the Garbhodak ocean. So then Garbhodakashai Vishnu is floating in the Garbhodak ocean, and from his navel comes forth a lotus flower in which Lord Brahma is born, and Lord Brahma wonders, what's going on here? Who am I? What's my purpose for existence? What's going on here? It's all dark. He doesn't know anything. And so Lord Brahma then meditates. Finally, he hears two sound vibrations, the 16th and the 21st of the Sparsha Sanskrit alphabet vibrated. Ta, pa. He said, oh, that's it. It's supposed to do some tapasya, austerity for realizing the absolute truth. And he does that, and he has a vision of a whole spiritual world. So then Brahma is empowered to fill in this empty shell of the universe. Of course, it's halfway with water already, but the upper half, he then fills it in with planets, 8,400,000 species, etc. So there's a little bit of...
The Garbhodakashayi Vishnu also expands as Paramatma.
Yes, and that Garbhodakashayi Vishnu further expands as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu within the heart of every living entity. He's called Paramatma, the super soul, and also within every single atom and between every single atom. There's no place where Krishna is not present in his expanded form as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. I am chanting 16 rounds, but still I feel fear. How could we have full faith that I become fearless? Well, first of all, you need to fully surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. 16 rounds will not be perfect unless you've taken shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and you've accepted his order as your life and soul. If you're only chanting 16 rounds and you haven't taken shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, it's natural you're going to feel fearful because you're still trying to pull on your spiritual life independently, which cannot be done. You have to have the mercy of a spiritual master to pull on your spiritual life. Actually, he pulls you on. By his mercy, you're pulled on in your spiritual progress. So this means you haven't, or if you have taken a spiritual master, you haven't fully surrendered to his orders, taking them as your life and souls. That's what you need. You need initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and you have to take his orders as your very life and soul. And then you'll be absolutely fearless, absolutely fearless. Okay, so our questions have run out, and I thank you all so much for coming to this program. And tomorrow night I'll be leading a kirtan at 5 o'clock. And I'll give a little talk also about the importance of kirtan. Tomorrow's a kirtan day, special kirtan day for the mundane new year. So some prashadam to distribute. Okay. So now we'll stop here and everyone can come get some prashadam. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari ki jai.